ready for the show?
This will be over in a matter of seconds. How about that? Termination. How about this? How about this? Control! Alt! Delete! How about this? Termination! How about that?
Take this!
How about that? Termination! How about this?
Take this! Take this!
Incoming!
Take this! Dodge this! Take it! Oh. Take it! Take it! Take it!
wanna play. Show me what you got. There you go. Vanish. There you go. Show me what you got. Oh, you're no vanish. Show me what you got. There you go. Oh,